Um, why do I get up in the morning? Good question. I believe that there are a lot of people in the world that um, lack inspiration, opportunity, and vision. So I was one of those people. So I know what it feels like not to be inspired to even when you wake up, you don't want to wake up, meaning like you don't even want to get up. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've been around a bunch of people that have also been in that same space. So, what I feel I can contribute to to society and to the world is creating something that allows other people that have come from different walks of life and different struggles to be able to dream. And so that's why I continue to wake up
If you
and
had a
focus on billionaires, bro.
if you had $1 billion, what would you do?
If I had $1 billion, what would I do? I would call Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, and the CEO of Alibaba, and I'd have a champagne party, just us, and I'd ask them, what would be their next? What is the next issue in the world? I want to hear everyone's opinion. And where do you think everything is shifting to in this world, as far as production, as far as money, as far as aspirations? And then if 3 out of 5 say Africa or cancer or Alzheimer's, I'm gonna go, okay, I'll put 100 million up. Can you guys match me? I'm the poorest guy here. And that's what we're gonna focus on. And that's a cool way to get these guys, because it's all perspective. So, you know, everyone has a different perspective about what they see or think or how they feel about certain things. So I like to give people perspective. So cool, if you feel that that's the way to go, then I'm going to support in it, and then you guys should contribute in it. But now I'm going to tell you what I want to do after, because I got skin in the game now. Where I think the wave is, because sometimes when you listen to young people, you don't know when you have so much money, you don't hear people, certain people. But it's important to come down. That's why I think Billionaires Row is so dope, because I could we could kick it with a guy in a shoe store who's just coming in to buy a pair of shoes for their kids that live in the projects that don't have much money, but their aspirations is to have their kid in that shoe. Or we can kick it with some of the biggest celebrities in the world, like Wu Tang or Diddy or you know Mark Zuckerberg or whatever, and they're worth $1 billion or a couple $100 million, but you've been able to coexist in both parts of the spectrum, which makes you human. That's what really makes you human. Like being able to like hang out with the dudes that are, you know, kicking soccer balls in parts of Africa with no shoes, and then get to hang out at the White House. You know what I mean? Like that is dope. And then giving that guy who would never take a flight to South Africa, to Cape Town, or to Haiti, to Port-au-Prince, and spend a weekend in a tent because he's worth a certain amount of money or because of his stature and he lives in Beverly Hills. That's just not something I would do. Like, you take the money, you go do it, right? So you come across people like that, but then when you do stuff like that and you interact with people in that space, you can give them perspective. And so you're seeing a lot of people with money now do things that they normally wouldn't do, because now they're getting a new perspective on life, because social media allows you to connect with people when you're really not connected with them, but it allows you to connect with them in some capacity. And I think brands are driven off of emotion. Very important, emotion. If a person can't connect to your brand emotionally, you know what I'm saying, you're not. So going back to your question, why do I do it? That's why I do it. I do it for young people that came from the town where I came from, Harlow, North Carolina, living in a trailer park, playing basketball on dirt roads, to the guy who works on Fifth Avenue wearing an Ashton black suit, Rolex watch, Gucci loafers, jumps in his Porsche 911, goes home to his house in Long Island, kisses his kids. He's got great internet speed, internet access. You know what I mean? Got cool, great dinner. Got a chef that cooks for him. So I do it for both sides, man. So we can continue to allow people who aren't here, that are here, to have vision and dream and hope one day that they could be here. That right there means a lot to me. But the moment people stop dreaming, the moment young people especially, stop dreaming, the world will cease to exist. No nuclear weapon is going to destroy this earth. No major gun is going to destroy this earth. The moment young people lose hope in the system and lose hope in general and lack vision and an ability to dream, that's when the world's going to end.
Describe your views on entrepreneurship. Like, give me the most important part of entrepreneurship.
So I got a few different perspectives.
Go ahead.
I think that one, you should meet as many people in this world as you can. You don't have to, like, one of the questions that I get a lot is, man, you're brilliant. Like, where'd you go to school? And I look at people and I go, where'd John Harvard go? He didn't go to school, but he has Harvard University. It's like, it's all perspective. It's like,
but what's your,
like, my
why are you an entrepreneur? Like, give me your point of view on entrepreneurship. Right, you're not.
When you want to change something, you don't want to go work for someone else. Like, I get when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever year old you are, you need to start somewhere. But if you want to change things, you got to create your own path. You got to create your own path. Like, you don't like the way this computer looks, create your own. You don't like the way this phone looks, create your own. We live in a land of creativity. We were created to create. And I think when you lose or lack opportunity to create based on money, based on the color of your skin, or based on where you're from or what geographical part of the world you're from, I believe that is systematic injustice. And for me, as an entrepreneur, I'm living right now because I'm able to create. Like, I'm able to sit next to a guy like Manny who believes in my vision and says, yo, I'm going to support in it, and we're going to build something together, and we're going to figure out how to make it happen, and we're going to make everybody happy around us, and we're going to make everybody smile, and then in turn, we're going to make money. And if we don't, cool, but we got a great story. But if we do, we're going to take that, put some in our pocket, then take some of it and give it back to the community, and then help other people, live that same situation that we're creating now for ourselves.
Okay, Mike, actually, this is what I'm asking. If you had to give one piece of advice in terms of entrepreneurship to another entrepreneur, to a young kid, what would it be?
Fail again. Fail 1,000 times. Fail. Learn to fail. Because through learning the process of failure, you'll learn the process of success. Learn to fail. A lot of people aren't going to tell you that they didn't have money to eat, or they slept in their car like I had to do. Or a lot of people aren't going to tell you that, they're going to show you their good part. They're going to show you their book and how to be successful, and this is where you buy it on Amazon, and this is all the tools you need to be great and to be successful. But no one ever talks about, it's like cancer. Like, we all talk about how we're going to come up with a solution to fight cancer, cure cancer. But no one ever talks about how to prevent cancer. No one ever puts money into preventing the problem, right? They want to create the problem, and then when the problem's there, they want to figure out how to solve the problem. But when you put the money into prevention measures, then you can stop, the crazy part, which is the end result, which is death, or which is certain diseases or whatever. So I look at it like that perspective. So yeah, so if anything that I would tell other young entrepreneurs is learn to fail, because through that you could become successful, because you're gonna, you have to live it. Doesn't matter how many books you read in school, doesn't matter how much dollars you spend when it comes to trying to buy your education. It's all good, get your education, but you got to live it. You got to live entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship isn't just creating a business and building something and it being successful. Entrepreneurship is the embodiment of eating oodles and noodles and figuring out how you're going to pay your bills, and figuring out who's there, who's going to support you, who your partners are going to be, right? Who you're going to align yourself with, and creating a forecast, and reaching your goals through your forecast or through your plans of action. So, that's, I can go on and on and on, but that's it in a nutshell.
Give me a story or something like where you failed, and then succeed. I don't know, something like where you felt adversity. Or
failed.
Failed. Failed. Where you felt like that was real failure, right? But at the end of it, you learn from it. So technically, it's not failure. It's just one stepping stone, right? But at that time, what did you? I don't know. Give me a story. Anything.
Cool. So I created this company called IFA when I first moved to New York. It was called Investors of Africa, and I was super gung-ho about Africa because I was like, you know what? That's the new wave. I was like 23 years old. Everyone was looking at me like, you're crazy. I'm not going to Africa. And so I had a lot of different friends from all walks of life. Chinese friends, Indian friends, Jewish friends, and everyone has their perspective. It's like, for example, I'll give you a crazy cool example that I saw that makes so much sense to me, right? So I take this can, and on this can, on the front of this can, what do you see? Like, what do you see?
The brand?
You see Coca-Cola, right? But I don't see Coca-Cola. I see total fat, 0 grams, sodium, 45 grams, total carbs, 30 grams. But you're like, but that's not what I see. What do you see? You see Coca-Cola. And I'm telling you, I don't see Coca-Cola.
I see the red color.
I see...
Everyone's perspective is different. Yeah.
But it's the same thing in here.
Yeah.
Right? We're saying the same thing, but we're saying something completely different. So it's still Coca-Cola. It's still got the juice in it, but you see Coca-Cola. I see the ingredients on the back of it, but it's the same can. So I think, people, they'll give you their own perspective about race and about certain things, and if they tell you that they don't see race, they're a lie, because America was built on that. America markets it every day. This is what they focus on. And so what we do is we work to build, to break those barriers, to be able to get to know each other and feel comfortable enough with each other, where we could trust each other, with money, with family, with friends, with product, with merchandise, with materials, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so I created IF, which is Investors of Africa, and the whole idea of that was to be able to bridge the relationship between African diaspora and African Americans in America. And I failed. Why did I fail? I failed because African Americans, or my people in America, aren't in a position to partner with their native, or to partner with their African brother, right? Every nation, so if you look at the Indians, right? The Indians are doing business with the Indians in America. There's some sort of correlation, like you can go back and do business with them. The Chinese in China, if they're buying bags of rice, they're buying it from China, right? There's a correlation there. But like in Africa, in the African Americans, there's no real correlation, because there's a lack of knowledge when it comes to who we are, like where we're from, and who our ancestors are, great-grandparents are, great-great-grandparents are, where they're from, or, if we're from this part of Africa, that part of Africa. So because of that, there's a little bit of chaos, and no one really can kind of connect with each other. So IAF was literally just a platform to help bridge the gap between African Americans and Africans in Africa, so that there could be big business within the two continents to help build wealth amongst both continents, of both groups of individuals. And you get a lot of feedback. And so what I had to do was I had to create, when I created my brand, the very first place that I went was Africa. Because I was put in a position like, well, this would never happen. It won't exist. It won't work. But then when I built my brand, when I built Billionaires Row, the connection was there. It was like it came together. So if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a product, if you don't have a business, or if you don't have an idea, you can't connect. And you can't build anything, right? So that's something I failed at, but then succeeded at through Billionaires Row. Tell her I'll be on a second. So succeeded through Billionaires Row by creating proof of concept and then selling that one bottle, right? They say, hey, if you can sell one bottle, it's viable.